welcome everybody to another 12 o'clock show with Mayor Joe. And joining us today is Reynoldsburg City School Board member Jeni Quesenberry.
Hello, how is everyone today?
It's a great, beautiful day outside.
Yes,
it's very
it
nice. Enjoy those summer days as they go. There we go. Every time it happens. Enjoy those summer days because guess what? School's starting.
Yes, it
real
is.
soon,
very
isn't it?
soon, very soon.
So we've got school coming up. So that's why you're on. Got a lot of things to talk about. What are you most excited about when school is coming back? What are you most excited for the return?
Seeing the students. I'm going to try to get to every single school over those next 2 days and just pop in and visit the staff and the students.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the fun part, especially now that everybody's going to be back in, and it's going to be not exactly normal, but it's going to be much closer to what we remember than in the past year or so after kind of a long 18 months of school with all the different kind of things going on.
Yes.
So there are a lot of big things going on in Reynoldsburg this year for the school district. Why don't you tell me a couple of things that are out there that you think everybody watching would want to know about?
We do have the big bond issue, and we'll answer some questions about that soon. Our treasure hunt. We have 3 open board seats. Hopefully we'll be finding out soon about that. The unification of the high school with improved articulation about the career pathways. And then we are excited for that new scoreboard at the field at the high school.
Yeah, we've got a big thing. It's the 75th anniversary of football here in Reynoldsburg, so that new scoreboard is perfect. Talk about perfect timing.
Perfect timing.
I'm sure that there'll be instant replays, and all the fans will, watch it patiently and not boo the refs on all the bad calls that they may or may not make as we're coming up to the rest of the season. Now, for you mentioned, specifically the bond issue. Well, we'll get to those questions in a little bit. So I know you're passionate about special education. That's
Yes.
kind of your focus. Anything that comes up, if there's a question, it's special education. I know exactly who to turn to when I was on the board.
Yes.
So what are some of the things that you would like teachers, administrators, and parents in Reynoldsburg to know about Reynoldsburg Special Education Group if they have questions, comments, concerns, things that you would recommend to all of those different groups?
Perfect. The coordinator is Jamie Scott. She is very, very intelligent and well-versed in special ed, obviously. And parents, you are your child's very best advocate. Sometimes that gets lost in the process for parents because it can be a bit overwhelming when you sit and you meet with tons of staff and they're talking about your child, but you are your child's advocate. Currently, we have 1,059 students in special ed programs in Reynoldsburg. We have 24 learning centers. We have 96 staff. Our goal is to implement interventions and modifications that produce positive results. So we're not over-identifying students in special ed. If we can achieve the results without having an IEP involved, then that's what's really important. At your very first MTSS, that's multi-tiered
Alphabet soup.
Yeah, something. I don't remember the rest of it. Interventions and modifications are discussed. That doesn't mean your child will automatically be tested and identified. We're looking for process, whether that data is benefiting your student or not. And then we continually assess students so we don't over-identify. And just as in gifted, it does become an equity issue. So we need to make sure that we're doing everything what's best for students.
Yeah, and those words that you said about the parent is the best advocate, absolutely. Never be afraid to ask those questions, to ask certain things, to make sure that your child gets the best quality education with all of that. I know
Absolutely.
that a majority of teachers, overwhelming majority of teachers, have no problem altering, modifying, doing anything as long as they all know about it, as long as everybody
Right.
kind of agrees to it. But at the same time, there's that balance between those modifications and continuously trying to push those students to achieve at a higher level
Absolutely.
all the way. So it's a really interesting balance, and I salute all special education teachers. I was lucky enough to work with one when I was teaching, and we team taught one class with special education kids. We had kids in the classroom that were reading at a college level, and we had kids in the classroom that were reading at a second grade level. But we were able to make it work because of those modifications, because of the way that we taught, and just the support systems that were there. Everybody was ultimately successful, and I think that's what we want for all students.
Absolutely. And special ed, when we talk special ed, we're not just talking students with a learning disability. It could be students with multiple disabilities, students with emotional disabilities, even students who have speech disabilities are considered to be a part of that special ed.
Absolutely. Now, you mentioned a little while ago, you're getting closer to the end of your incredibly successful 4-year term in office.
Yes.
So my big question to you is, What's your piece of advice for whomever decides to, throw their hat into the ring? What would, if you could say anything, what would you tell them? Because I'm sure I hope they're all watching.
I would say keep politics out of it. This is what's best for students, not what's best for you or your party necessarily. It's what's best for students, and you follow your heart.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. Well, we do have a couple of questions that were submitted, so I'm going to go through those. This is from, I believe, Doylene Williams, so I hope you're watching. So we got a couple of ones. Her first question was, how does the bond, so the bond issue that is on the ballot, how does the bond issue get the ratings of our school district higher? So how would that make things better?
It will provide a foundation for our kindergarten students, our preschool students, that gives a strong foundation for their success in the school year. As of this point, because we know things change quite often, we have our third grade reading guarantee. Oftentimes our children fall through those cracks because they're not getting what they need before third grade. Third grade hits, it's not a district decision, this is a state decision. If they don't pass these tests, they may be retained. So the most we can give, the best we can give in those first fundamental years is what we need to do.
And this is where I get to chime in because I can say these things. If you really look at those school report cards, the best way to look at those school report cards is to find out where the most expensive property in Central Ohio is. If you look at a school report card and they have amazingly high scores, my guess is that the property values of those that are in that area are probably some of the highest in the state. If you look at those areas that have lower or more challenged school district scores, you're probably going to find the lowest economic values in the state.
Absolutely.
Those are measurements of economic ability, not necessarily the ability of the students themselves. And so I think that when you talk about raising that bar, starting that foundation at an all-day kindergarten, that is absolutely huge because you can get them from the moment they walk in, regardless of what education they've had, what kind of supports that they've had. You get them from that kindergarten, first, second, and then into that third grade. So if there is a gap, if there is something that's there, it's going to be significantly smaller. And that's a huge thing. And the school report cards are not good. They honestly, they're horrible. And the reason why I know that is even the state legislature knows that, and they're looking to replace it. Because it's not, there is no apples to apples comparison. Reynoldsburg is Reynoldsburg, and to compare Reynoldsburg to Upper Arlington and Bexley and a number of other communities is no more fair than comparing, say, Upper Arlington and Bexley to some of the schools out in the rural areas. This is not just a suburban urban thing. This is rural districts. This is everybody. There's differences all the way across, and you can't compare the two because you're not going to get the same results.
Absolutely.
But what it does show you again is that there's an economic disparity out there with school funding, and you all know how I feel about that. All right, moving on to the next one. How does it help Reynoldsburg have a district that can compete educationally with districts like Bexley or the highly rated charter schools, which there aren't very many highly rated charter schools out there. Just throwing that out there. But anyway, we'll go.
There, as you stated, there is a 1-to-1 correlation between academics and wealth. And so to compare us to Bexley would be really disingenuous. We are almost 70% economically disadvantaged. I believe Bexley is somewhere in the range of 10%. So that immediately puts us in a different category. I don't want to say a disadvantage because I don't think it is a disadvantage. It's just a different category. Also, people need to understand that these tests are summative. That means we give the student the test, and it's a day in the life of a year of a student that we're collecting information, and we don't use that information to help them to improve the knowledge that they maybe were missing. The one opportunity that we do have is that we have, I believe we had 8 students last year here in Reynoldsburg that got their high school diploma, but also got their associate's degree. I'm not sure what Bexley and some of the other schools we can say, but that's a big accomplishment for our students.
Absolutely. Now, as far as the charter school comment on it, there are schools out there that are more a special tailored need to some of our students who are out there. And obviously we want the best for all students to find what's there. But what we also want is a combination of two things. One, we want an equal playing field. I believe charter schools, if they are in existence, should be held to the same exact standards as the public schools. because again, we're talking apples to apples comparison. And I also don't think that public money should be going to charter schools. Charter schools are typically privately owned, and that's outside of it. Public schools shouldn't have their funding taken away. And we all know that Reynoldsburg loses state funding anyway for similar purposes, and
Correct.
we don't want to have that happen. So the next question is, how much of this bond money is to respond to the growth resulting from anticipated apartment development or enrollment growth created by non-resident students? So there's a lot of different pieces to this particular one. So go ahead and start off with what you want.
None of it. If you understand open enrollment, first of all, you would know that those students only fill seats that are open seats. And we've actually gotten quite a lot of funding from having open enrollment, which has made us able to push that bond that we had 11 years ago, I believe, push it this long. That's been a big benefit for us. But we've actually decreased open enrollment by about 250 students over the last 4 years. As for the growth, Reynoldsburg, our job is to educate all students, whether they are homeowners, students that live in a home that's owned by their parents, or apartments. That's our job, and that's what we will do, is to educate all students. So money is for the growth of all students here in Reynoldsburg.
Yeah, and I know when I first started on the board, I've said it a couple of times, we were around 6,000 students, and now obviously we're in the ballpark of approaching 7,900, somewhere around in there. And a lot of it is, a majority of it up to this point is residents that are moving in. We've had a lot of members of community, either aging out or downsizing and things of that nature. So you're seeing a huge kind of shift demographically, and that's without anything coming in.
Correct.
So this is not in response to anticipated, outside of the fact of we have the opportunity now to actually plan ahead a little bit to make sure that we're taking those steps for whatever may come future down the way. The last one is, what is the amount of the bond that is just specifically, is there like a finance number that splits, like how much is going to go to replace Hannah Ashton versus how much is going to go to the Early Learning Center?
So I did check. I met with the superintendent this morning just so I could make sure that I had the accurate numbers. He said the cost for a new middle school would be that would hold approximately 800 to 1,000 students, would cost about $36 million.
Okay.
In the next 2 years, if we do not get this bond levy passed, we would be looking at about $18 million to I don't even say upgrade Hannah Ashton, to make it workable at Hannah Ashton, and then another $18 million within a couple of years to continue the maintenance. So if we can use Hannah Ashton and reuse that area to build an early learning center, elementary students would then go to Wagner Middle School, and then those students will have a new school over at Summit that will be built for the middle school. But that would provide us with another elementary school, which we are definitely overcrowded in.
All right, so basically it's not 3 schools for the price of 2, but the way that things work out, it does kind of balance out that
Right,
way.
and then for more information on the bond issue, you can definitely visit the district website for those frequently asked questions.
Yeah. I know there's a lot of questions out there. They talked about timelines for when the buildings would be built if it passed, how long would it be, this, that. And again, the best resource, again, is the district website. There's also a bond committee that is out there that you probably have seen out that's supportive of that, so I would look to them as well. Before we kind of move on to some other things, do we have any questions?
Nope, not this time.
Not this
Okay,
time?
let me add one more
please.
thing, that the classrooms at Hannah Ashton are way too small with the infrastructure needs. Dr. Brown stated that he would welcome anyone who wants to tour, personal tour, to see Hannah Ashton, to see what we've been communicating out there. There will also be a virtual tour that they will do and put that on the website. Personally, I think having someone actually go in to see these sites are far more eye-opening. So please make sure, if you're interested, contact Dr. Brown for that.
Well, I know that it's a good thing to see it. I know that these are things that we talked about, multiple years ago. This isn't just something that the board kind of woke up in the last few months and said, hey, let's do this. It's something that we've been looking at really since probably 2016, 2017, because of the number of issues that are there just to maintain Hannah Ashton, in addition to the benefits of all-day kindergarten. I'm happy to know that a majority, I think a number of our elected officials and candidates for office, whether they school board or city, are very much already outspoken and very in favor of this bond issue. So for those of you watching at home, I highly encourage you to ask anybody who's running for office what their views are. One of the big things is our city is only as strong as our school district, and our school district is only as strong as our city. It is a partnership between all of us. Absolutely. We have to work together, and in this case, this is to the benefit of everyone in the entire community of Reynoldsburg. So I thank you so much. That's a lot of bond questions, and I'm surprised we haven't gotten any more, but you're not off the hook yet. You have to stay till the end.
I know the end, and there'll probably be something will pop up.
That's when they come in. See, right there, we've got one of our questions.
It says, in what ways will the history of the Hannah Ashton building be preserved?
That's a really good question.
That is a really good question. I know that the district is working closely with the Historical Society. There was a video that was just put out
in the last day or so.
Last day or so. Do you have anything you want to?
Yeah, I know that what they're bringing in is one is the architectural design. So they're going to try and make the Early Learning Center share some of those same architectural components, and then some of the actual structure of Hannah Ashton, the original Hannah Ashton, the one that we can't even really see anymore because it's been added on to so many times over. It's I think it's 153 years old.
153.
So a lot of
1868.
Yeah, a lot of renovations. So the Civil War ended, and then the school got built. So that's how long ago it was. So I think that they're going to take some of those elements, the knowledge is power and those types of things, and they're going to incorporate that into the new building. And the new building, I believe, is going to be called the Hannah Ashton Early Learning Center. So you talk about a way to honor the legacy of Hannah Ashton, the first school, I believe, built in Franklin County, because, well, you know, it's 153 years old. Nobody has anything 153 years old that's used in the same manner today.
Right,
so.
And I know when this first came up, that was one of my concerns, because I many years ago attended Hannah Ashton, and the building does look considerably different from then, and I know that is a piece that people, you know, it is a piece of Reynoldsburg. So I know that there are going to be questions and concerns, but I do support the decisions, because we can't have an unsafe facility for our students.
All right, so until we get the next question, I did not know this until recently, but apparently it is National Black Business Month. So we have a proclamation that I'm going to read. I would like to thank Councilwoman Meredith Lawson-Rowe for letting me aware of this, because obviously we've opened up a number of businesses. We just opened up the Garden Studios this past weekend, which is a minority-owned business that's actually for therapeutic dance that hopefully none of you will ever have to see me participate in. But again, it's a great business over in the Blacklick Plaza. So this is in honor of all minority and Black-owned businesses. Whereas the National Black Business Month was founded in 2004 by John William Templeton and Frederick E. Jordan Sr. to recognize the important role of Black-owned businesses throughout the country and to encourage their continued development. And whereas Templeton and Jordan believed that highlighting Black entrepreneurs and encouraging people to support their businesses was key to reducing barriers for Black-owned businesses and could result in more than 40,000 additional jobs during the month, and as many as 450,000 if the patterns are continued over the course of just 1 year. Whereas Black-owned businesses account for approximately 10% of U.S. businesses and about 30% of all minority businesses, which amounts to 2.6 million businesses in the U.S. that generate approximately $150 billion in annual receipts. And whereas the number of Black-owned businesses and those owned by women continues to grow, as the number of firms owned by Black women grew 164% from 2007 to 2018, nearly 3 times the average rate. And whereas supporting and promoting Black-owned businesses helps to close the racial wealth gap and encourages the flourishing of the local community and culture, and whereas Reynoldsburg is home to many Black-owned businesses that provide family-supporting jobs and careers to residents, and these businesses are vital and proud component of our diverse community. Now, therefore, I, Joe Begany, Mayor of the City of Reynoldsburg, Ohio, urge Reynoldsburg citizens to patronize, strengthen, and support Black-owned businesses in our community, not only during the month of August, but throughout the year, and do hereby proclaim August 2021 as National Black Business Month here and signed on this day. It is a huge thing. One of the things that the council and I are working on is we hope to have in September small business grants that actually encourage minority and female and veteran-owned businesses, as well as some other things, because again, it's all about those small businesses. You know, we talked about the garden spot earlier. we were there this weekend. That is exactly what it was. The young lady who was there, she wanted to, she was following her dream, and she's got her business, and it looks great. And for those that want to participate in that therapeutic dance, they can. I'm sure we'll probably be out there, and someone will make me do yoga at some point with it as well. So congratulations on that. We do have a couple of big things coming up next week. I'm really looking forward to it. Is we have our Wagner Road public hearing on Wednesday, August 11th at 7 p.m. at City Hall. That's going to be a really good thing because of the simple fact that we're going to be able to talk about exactly what the town hall is going to, or what Wagner Road is going to look like. We're going to talk about the dedicated right turn lane onto Main Street from Wagner. We're going to talk about the lighted Priestley and that phase 1, as well as the sidewalks and the bike paths, as well as the kind of the water retention and the gutters and things of that nature all the way through that. So we've got that coming on at Wednesday. That will be here. We'll try and get those pictures from the most recent designs out on our website soon. It's just we're trying to convert them from what we have into something that can get onto our website that it doesn't take 28 hours to load into as a picture. We will also have our Roundabout Town Hall meeting August 31st at City Hall at 7 p.m. and we'll broadcast that one live on Facebook as well. That's going to talk about, there's not a lot of people that are very supportive of the idea of a roundabout, and there's probably going to be a lot of people that are not as supportive of a roundabout in Reynoldsburg, specifically at that 5-way location. So we thought it'd be best to bring everybody in who wants to have some words on that particular one. So we have a couple of city events. We're counting down just a few more farmers markets to go. We've got our farmers market from 4 to 7 at JFK this week. We will not have one next week at JFK because apparently there's some festival going on or something here in Reynoldsburg. We'll get that one later. But we also have a kind of a flip on this one. Our last Music in the Cul-de-sac was supposed to be last week, but it looks like they're going to come back because one of them was rained out. So the Canada Court G-Gap Band is going to be back in tomorrow. It's going to be at, I believe, 7 o'clock at Canada Court. This one was rained out. It was actually, I was at that one. It was beautiful, then it rained, and then it was beautiful, and then it rained and didn't stop. So that was the end of that one, so we're looking forward to that. Special thanks to all that came out this past weekend for the Lions Club, Reynoldsburg City Schools, and the Reynoldsburg Police Department, and the City of Reynoldsburg for the school supply drive. We appreciate everything out there. We are busy organizing and still collecting school supplies, so if you weren't able to make it out, we will collect them here at City Hall so we can get them organized. We will have a pickup of those school supplies on Saturday, August 21st from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. right here at City Hall. If you participated in this last year, it's very much you drive in, do a circle, pick up your bag, and go. So it's not going to, you don't even have to get out of your car to get those in there. And speaking of those festivals that I mentioned, are we excited about, are you going to be at the Tomato Festival?
Absolutely.
All right, so I mean, this is all we've been talking about here for a long time, especially the last few days. We're in that crunch time. So I've got some great things out there. If you're still looking to volunteer, you still can do that. We're always looking for a couple of different areas and things like that. Check out the webpage. It's www.reytomatofest.org, REYTOMATOfest.org, and you can actually volunteer and pick up a shift. So you can go out and work the gate or take tickets or any number of options out there. So go ahead and do that. So we're still looking for there. But I do have some festival information before I show some of our highlights for the Saturday event. First of all, we've got parking. If you require handicap parking, you'll be able to park behind the YMCA on the side closest to the senior center. You can also park at Spangler. Over on the other side, there'll be directions for handicap parking if you're coming off Livingston by Spangler Park. Other parking will include areas at JFK, as well as Spangler, as well as on the Tomato Festival grounds, and we also have a shuttle that will be going from the old Kroger, so you'll be able to have that out there as well. A couple things you got to know before you come here. No backpacks. We've got to keep the backpacks at home. Now, that doesn't mean diaper bag. You can still have a diaper bag, because obviously we want one. But you can still have those, but no backpacks. No outside drinks or water. We obviously want you to patron all of the vendors that are going to be out there as well. And no pets. If you do have a service animal, you have to have all the required things that you need for a service animal, obviously, for that, but no pets. If for additional information for any of those particular topics, again, check out www.reytomatofest, REYTOMATOfest.org, so you can take a look at some of that more particular information. Highlights for Saturday, and it's going to take a while, so brace yourself. First off, we're kicking it off with a 5K. So you're going to kick it off with a 5K sponsored by the Reynoldsburg High School cross country team and the junior high team as well. We have a 3-on-3 basketball tournament that's going to be at the YMCA for all different age groups, including my favorite category, the Rotten Tomato. Apparently those are old tomatoes. Not sure what we're trying to say about that. but maybe they've seen my game. All right, so we also have the Holy Tomato Kickball. We have the Guns and Hoses kickball team between the Reynoldsburg Police Department and the Truro Township Fire Department, and they're already talking smack with each other. They're already going after each other. We'll have the car show that day as well, right off Davidson. We're going to have a community dunk tank with yours truly. We've got a schedule out there, including Superintendent Melvin Brown. We also have Mel Clemens Award winner April Darling will be there as well. We'll have Principal Scott Bennett, school board members Neil Whitman, Council Member Boone Paccarell, and Council Member Stacy Baker. Truro Township Trustee Chris Long and I are also going to be participating, and it's all to raise funds for the Reynoldsburg Education Foundation. So we're really looking forward to that. Basically, we'll tell you the price out there, but basically it's, $2 a ball or 3 for $5. And you get to dunk any one of those people that you've always wanted to in your entire life. So we hope you come out there for a good cause. We'll also take just random donations. But we'll have the official time of when everybody's going to be, in their dunk tank area at some point in time. So we've got that going on. We also have later in the evening a new event this year, which is the Paint and Wine Night. So you can actually have a glass of wine and paint, which is a very popular thing. I know a lot of people are looking forward to that. So I hope everybody who wants to come out with that can take a look at it. Any questions about our Tomato Fest or anything like that for right now?
No.
All right. Well, I guess we're getting a good job of everything. So we'll have some other information out about that as we kind of go through. That's all you're going to see on social media for the next couple of weeks, and all that we're going to be putting out there is everything that's going on each of the days that we're out there. We do have a couple of parks updates. I know it's been a while since we've talked about Civic Park, so I'm going to kind of give everybody an update for that. Yesterday we went out and we put a required bid or a required proposal out there, request for a proposal for different companies to come in and do the actual engineering for what Civic Park would look like based on the feedback that we've gotten from the community. We've done a visit on site. We were at the Tomato Festival last year, all of that type of stuff. So we'll actually have some good ideas coming back to us to give us an idea of how long it's going to take, what the cost is, how we're going to pay for it, all that fun stuff. So we'll get those updates as we kind of go through. We'll probably give you a really good idea of some things at the next council meeting in September, but we're on track pushing forward with those things. We also had a great meeting at what we're hoping to call Bryce Park. This is that area of land that's right across from the current Reynoldsburg Library. Councilman Stacy Baker and Councilwoman Kristen Bryant were very instrumental in opening the door to communication with the city of Columbus about turning that area into some open park green space. So we went through that process yesterday to kind of get an idea of what to put there and things like that. So, park benches, some trails, and all of that type of thing. So now we have to leave it in the hands of the lawyers for that one to make sure that we can do all that. So, but we're hoping that we're able to turn that into a park, because that'll go in well with some of the other things that are going on in Bryce Road. So we've got that going on. We also have the Citizens Police Academy, not too much longer, and that class is going to be starting up. So we have that starting September 2nd. It's going to last for 8 weeks. It's open up to all Reynoldsburg residents, so you can learn about how to deal with canine. I was at National Night Out last night, which I'll talk about in a second, but I got to meet our new dog, our new police dog, and it was really, really cool. So we'll see pictures of that one out there as well. Very playful, very energetic, and it's a puppy about as big as I am, but it's still a puppy apparently. So that was out there, so you'll see that, but if you're interested in that, you can go to the website and log on. I know Councilwoman Meredith Lawson-Rowe will be on this class in September, and I'm looking to hopefully do one in January, so I can go out there and participate as well. We'll have a couple of other things that we'll talk about RPD as we kind of move a little bit forward. But now we're going to talk a little bit more about development. As always, I hope to see you on August 28th at 11 o'clock at the official demolition of the Kmart building. It's going to go away at that point in time, so we're really looking forward to that. There's going to be some food trucks. We're hoping to have some music there, all sorts of games and activities and things like that, because that is really going to kick off our city's efforts to revitalize the entirety of Bryce Road. So we're in a good step for that one. Also, we talked a little bit about this tomorrow night at our Planning Commission meeting. We've talked about it before, but Reynoldsburg is getting its own sheets. Not actually Reynoldsburg, not off Tussing or anything like that. This is actually in Reynoldsburg. We're going to get our sheets. It's going to be on the corner of Cedar Cliff and Broad Street. It's on the Reynoldsburg side by the Aldi, and there's a Lowe's, and then there's a big open field right in the center of it, and that's actually where it's going to go, assuming the Planning Commission is all set for that. So I know a lot of people out there are very excited about sheets. I know our chief of police was actually coming back from a baseball tournament, and they had to stop there because they knew we were getting one to see what it's all about. They were pretty impressed with everything. So we've got that going on as well. Any questions so far from anything?
We do have a question, and then we just had something brought to our attention. The meeting for the Wagner Road is at 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock. I like 6 o'clock.
Yeah,
so
we
there
have
we
that
go.
correction. And then we have a question going back to the Hannah and Ashton School.
Sure.
It says, the school has been old for years now. Why is its condition suddenly a problem?
It's just costing so much to fix and again provide our students with a safe haven to come and learn without distractions. I know there's an issue with the third floor for the girls. If they need to go to the bathroom, they have to go down to the second floor to go to the bathroom. As an educator, I'm not so sure we want middle schoolers running around the buildings to go to the bathroom, not escorted, obviously. So, we need to have those types of things. We've made the building so students, they have access to the education they need, but it's not what they deserve.
I know even just as little as I think 3 years ago, it was about 2 weeks before school started, 3 weeks before school started, and the flooring, as they were trying, everybody's buffering and waxing and everything, and the floor just buckled, the entire floor, and it was one of those things where it's like, the floor of the building, but there was only so much that we could do to have it. We had to get that done, and the amount of money that we had to spend on that would have been better served doing who knows what else if we didn't have to do it. It's the maintenance cost that's really there.
Constant, yes.
It's the same argument about people who maintain a house versus people who buy a new house. There's certain things to be said, or a car, that it's more expensive as things get older. And this is an old building. This isn't something that was just built recently. So. And like I said, we've been talking about this, I think, probably since maybe my second year on the board about what to do about Hannah Ashton. And we've tried to stretch things out and maximize, but it's the cost benefit is just not the same anymore.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. So if there's any other questions, you knew you were going to get one more.
Yes.
There'll probably be another as they come across. So next week, we've got a little bit of different. We actually are not having a guest next week, except our guest is actually going to be the Tomato Festival itself. We're going to do an on-site visit because we're going to be I would say probably neck deep in all of the actual construction of everything. We're getting all the fencing together, and that's when we're going to start seeing some of our vendors coming in next week. So we'll kind of take a look at those. I think we have about 140 vendors that are interested in, that are scheduled to show up, and those are really good things for all the local businesses. But then we also have, everybody's favorite, you've got your funnel cakes, elephant ears, your fried everything. All of that stuff is going to be there as well. Not to mention all the musical acts. We've got a lot of things coming up. So that'll be an all tomato festival day kind of thing at Huber Park next Wednesday at 12 o'clock. So that's going to be a fun thing as well. And then, so talk a little bit about National Night Out last night. It was a great event. Thank you to the Oaks Apartment Complex for hosting, and everybody who was there. There's a list of people that responded. They had Cane's, Culver's, Starbucks. There was a fraternity out there doing some mentorship programs out there. Turo Township, the Franklin County Sheriff's Department, and obviously RPD was out there. The Lions Club, the YMCA, Urban Air. I'm trying to go through a number of things, and I can't remember it, but there's an organization that's very anti-bully. Organization was out there as well. So it was a huge thing. Had a great crowd out there. If you want to find out a little bit more about National Night Out or any of those other things, check out the video that we posted up last night. It happens every year. We move it around to different parts of our community and all the way across. So thanks to everybody out there for being out there. And there was a dunk tank out there as well. I was not in that one, but a few other people were. My dunk tank is in about a week. So we've got that going on. If there's any other questions, last second questions?
Nope.
All right. So with all of that, Board Member Quesenberry, I hope to have you on again, maybe even as just Citizen Quesenberry or something like that after you're all done. And then we'll see what she really has to say about things. But you have a lot of work to do between now and then. So obviously, hopefully the bond issue passes and then it goes to that next step and all of that. And there's a lot of work ahead for you. But you've done a great job. You and I actually were on the board together for a number of years, and your ability to bring that heart of the special ed thing was really cool. And that's what made you special on the board, because you were able to bring that piece that not everybody else on the board had. And that's what makes a really cool Board of Education, is when you have different people that hit all of those different topics.
Well,
so
thank you very much, and I'm very glad you asked me to come.
I'm happy about it. Now, don't forget, we do have our sign for you. I had to get this for you. So it's a big sign, but it's in code. So right here, I'm going to go ahead and pass this sign over to you. This is for your Build Your Future. So in case you want to see that, and if you see them out there, you might know where she lives. So I just want to make sure you had that for no reason whatsoever.
Absolutely. I've got my sign garden already growing.
All right.
So go right in front. Thank you so much.
No, thank you. And everybody else out there, stay safe, stay respectful, and as always, please put your shopping carts away. It's not that hard. Have a great week, everybody. We'll see you at the Tomato Festival next week.